Hi guys, I'm Captain Jack Sprengel here at the Edison Show 2025 with TAC Waterman. We're going to go over some of the exciting new upgrades to Stella SW 2025. One of the first things you're going to notice that change about this reel is some of the visuals. The bail is now black. It's a quick way to identify it. You'll also notice that it has a little bit more of like a gunmetal gray color to it versus the traditional black. First thing you're going to notice is the drag difference. We now have what's called XX Tough Drag. XX Tough Drag has taken not only the large drag washers that used to be in the back, they had much smaller keyed drag washers in the front. Now you have massive size to your drag washers in the front. They're raised above the level of the spool. And what that does with this full aluminum ring in the front is not only allow heat to shoot out of the back of the reel using that heat sink technology that you might have seen before in the past. Heat sink is a system on the reel that actually shunts all that core heat that builds up under heavy load with drag that normally used to damage your braid. It now shoots out away from the reel. In the past, it only shot out of the back using this heat sink. Now, because there's much larger, you can see the size of the front of this face now, much larger drag washers in the front, it's actually allowing heat to escape the front of the spool as well. So now you're getting far less diminished drag power with heat. Anytime you've got a major big fish on and it's putting heavy load on the reel, your drag curve slowly starts to lose efficiency. Now with increased XX Tough Drag in heat sink, that's no longer an issue. Next change inside Stella, that's a huge upgrade. Stella now has Infinity Cross. Infinity Cross gears is a big change. If you look visually at this gear from the past, you had very high ridges and there was a fewer apart on them space-wise. So what you ended up with was major stress points on each of the teeth of the gear. Even though we have Hagane cold forged gears, we notice that there is additional wear occurring in those areas. So now, with Infinity Cross, you have a much wider surface area on your gear, and you're getting complete locking with your teeth so that you're getting direct transfer of energy and all of that wear and tear is being distributed across the entire length of the tooth, giving you even more durable gears inside new Stella. Another thing you'll notice is when you're winding this reel, traditionally a Stella's oscillation would come up and down on the reel, okay, at a normal cadence. Now we have Infinity Loop. Infinity Loop is a change in the pitch in the drive system of this reel. You'll notice that it comes up one speed and then it comes down much slower. It comes up fast, it comes down much slower. What that's going to do for you on the water. In the past, had you spooled up your reel, you would have noticed a little concave shape to your line on the spool. That concave shape was because the way it loaded up, it would put higher pressure on either end of the spool. Now when you spool this reel and you turn line on it, it's going to come out perfectly even. What does that mean to me on the water? It's not just a visual thing. If you looked in the past, whenever you had a big tuna on or a large game fish that you'd be buying Stella for, as your line's dumping, that rod tip was quivering, shaking. That's because there was constraint points on either far side of the spool. Now when your line dumps off of Stella, that rod tip is going to sit perfect. You might still have tuna tail movement, but you're not going to be getting that sputter that you had before when the reel was dumping drag. That's called Infinity Loop. Anti-twist fin, another new feature. Anti-twist fin is something that came from the freshwater side that now translates to the saltwater side. In the past, in between casting, especially if you had heavy lures or you were changing, you would get a lot of line lay or loop in your line. Sometimes when you would go to turn that handle, it would put a wrap of line around the front of the spool, and then you'd end up with an issue because you could get a tangle. This anti-twist fin, which has two separate sizes that now comes with the reel, will allow you to change them out just by grabbing it with a pair of needle nose pliers. You can remove it completely, or you can switch it to an even smaller size one that'll accommodate knots like the FG knot or the PR bobbin knot. The last big change you'll notice, in the past, the 10,000 has had this traditional egg knob. The 14,000s and up will have the rubberized egg knob, okay? And what you'll notice on that reel is there's now an additional washer on the inside, and that's going to prevent any salt intrusion from getting inside that handle and compromising any of the integrity of that handle under heavy load. This year, we have the 10 and 14,000, and as with anything with Shimano, you'll see this translate throughout the series, both up and down in size as we progress to the next half. If you have any other information that you're looking for, you can go on fish.shimano.com and compare this to any other model in the series.